Assalamu alaikum and welcome to the 11th video in the series of interviews for English lectureship for Ppsc. This can also help those who are appearing for the interviews of English lectureship in FPSC or universities. So the first question is, what would your goals be for the first year of your job? So for this question, you need to ascertain certain goals that you have already determined and that you may be able to speak out in front of the panel. That what could you do in the first year? So you can have a roadmap in front of you कि आपने उस पहले साल में क्या करना है. That can be linked to your professional development and also that should benefit the students. So keep in mind ये दो चीजें इसमें होनी चाहिए कि पहले साल के आपके goals क्या हैं कि हम अपने आप को education wise strengthen करेंगे professionally or academically. And then will also be beneficial for the students in some way or another. So ये अपने mind में अपने हिसाब से सोच लें. जो मास्टर्स हैं उन्होंने एमफिल करना होगा, जो एमफिल हैं उन्होंने पीएचडी करनी होगी. अगर वो आपको पहले साल में इजाजत नहीं मिलती, you must be like doing or reading some books to upgrade yourselves. So such kind of answers should be with you. What is your teaching philosophy? So this is very common question. And recently, twice or thrice, this question is asked. So about your teaching philosophy, you should be sure that what you're going to state in the answer. So best answer about this could be that my teaching philosophy is that I want to dedicate my utmost like knowledge to the students, and I want to disseminate all that what I am carrying in my mind, and I want to transmit to my students in such a way that they never forget it. So for this case, I can have discussions with them. I can make my lectures interactive because I want to deliver a lecture which is never to be forgotten. How much do you want to know about your students in order to be most helpful to them? So as far as a teacher is concerned, he must be knowing the students. So there's difference between knowing the students well and being personal with them. So a professional teacher should not be personal with them, but at least he should be knowing them personally in a way कि उनके issues क्या हैं, उनका background क्या है, उनके family matters यानी financial matters क्या हैं, वो commute कैसे करते हैं, उनकी fee structure pay करने के काबिल है नहीं. So there are so many things which can influence a student. So one must know this about the students. For example, if I tell you about my first job, so I was so aware about my students that I had a complete record about them, the class which was given to me, about them, about the parents, what do they do, the contact number, the blood groups. So ये सारी चीजें बड़ा help करती हैं आगे उनके साथ आपको. यानी एक जब बच्चे को पता हो ना टीचर हमारे साथ इतना एक पेन ले रहा है. और इसमें भी एक चीज याद रखें, you're all माशाल्लाह very expert teachers. कभी भी स्टूडेंट्स को क्लास में सबके सामने बेइज्जती ना करें. जो बेकर ने कहा ना कि जो है यानी severity that breedeth fear, लेकिन जो rough language है that breedeth hate. तो rough language hate को जन्म देती है. उसी बच्चे को जब आप क्लास के बाहर जाके बुलाएंगे और उसे अकेले में समझाएंगे, यकीन माने उसका वो असर होगा जो कि क्लास में कभी नहीं हुआ. नेवर डू दिस टू द स्टूडेंट. अपने आप उसकी जगह रख के सोचें, इज्जत नफ्स जब हर्ट होती है, सो नो वन इज गोइंग टू लर्न एनीथिंग. हाउ डू यू फाइंड what do you find most frustrating about teaching? So for this, I already answered in one of my videos on interview like a pro, which was a live seminar on YouTube. इसमें basically हमने क्या करना है कि you don't have to put the blame on you or the teaching itself. Put the blame on the conditions which may not affecting the answer. For example, you can say that at college level there is to some extent liberty for the students to bunk the classes. तो जो उनका क्लासेस को बंक करना है मुझे ये हजम नहीं होता, क्योंकि ये ऐसी लिबर्टी है जिसकी वजह से स्टूडेंट्स क्लास में लेट आते हैं, नहीं आते और उनकी पढ़ाई का हर्ज होता. So we should go for such an answer. Ice Candy Man, which is also known as Cracking India, that is a novel by Bapsi Sidhwa. 1991 में लिखा गया, इंडिया में 1992 में पब्लिश हुआ. So this was a story about partition of India, और वो इंडिया की पार्टीशन इसमें बेसिकली पारसी फैमिलीज दिखाई हुई हैं, और जो पार्टीशन है उसका रिजल्ट क्या निकलता है, लाइक दोज पीपल हु वर वेरी क्लोज टू ईच अदर, वो ही आपस में एक दूसरे के दुश्मन हो जाते हैं. सो दिस वाज अ काइंड ऑफ प्लॉट इन द स्टोरी, और सारा वो जो उसके पार्टीशन के जो दीगर इश्यूज थे. हाउ इज पैथेटिक फैलेसी डिफरेंट फ्रॉम पर्सोनिफिकेशन? So pathetic fallacy is linked with personification, के दोनों तकरीबन सेम है. Pathetic fallacy is a literary device that attributes human qualities and emotions to inanimate objects of nature. ये याद रखिएगा, inanimate objects of nature. The word nature is used here. The word pathetic in term is not used in any derogatory sense of being miserable. Rather, it stands for imparting emotions to something else. तो इसका मतलब pathetic का मतलब बुरा नहीं है, emotions को impart करना. So difference क्या है? Pathetic fallacy को generally confuse किया जाता है personification से. Fact ये है कि इनके functions different हैं. Pathetic fallacy is kind of personification that gives human emotions to inanimate objects of nature. Again repeating, the objects of nature. For example, referring to the weather features, reflecting a mood, the somber clouds in a way, जो कि जिस तरह somber clouds darkened our mood, तो ये अपने nature को एक तरह से attribute दिया somber होने का, जो कि human quality है. But if we say that sparrow was talking to us, the crops were dancing, या the waves were jumping, so ये basically personification है, जो कि human qualities हैं, जो कि nature या inanimate objects या animate objects आप इनको दे सकते हैं. Pathetic fallacy is specified with nature only. Who coined the term pathetic fallacy? So this term, like personification, एक बहुत पुरानी term है. अब at the same time, this term, the pathetic fallacy, this was coined by John Ruskin in his Modern Painters. तो ये बेसिकली एक पेस्टोरल एलिजी में भी यूज हुई. सो जॉन रस्किन वाज द पर्सन हु क्वाइंड द टर्म. मीनिंग ऑफ राइम in Rime of the Ancient Mariner. So in my earlier video, it was I mentioned that rhyme means fog, जो कि fog आ जाती है वहां पे. It also has two more meanings. And thanks to a very good friend who told me this. So first of all, rhyme is the fog, क्योंकि वो albatross को जब शिकार करता है, तो albatross को मारने के बाद fog आती है, जो उसका कर्स बन जाता है, और वो फिर end में जाके खत्म होता है. Second is the rhyme, जो कि RHYME का एक variant version है spelling में. And third is the harmony that the mariner develops with nature. कि पहले उसे चीजें नहीं पसंद, वो अल्बाट्रॉस को नहीं पसंद करता, मार देता है, बाद में फिर उसे गॉड की क्रिएशंस पसंद आती हैं उन्हें, फिर वो उसके साथ हार्मोनियस लेवल पे आ जाता है, तो कर्स टूट जाता है. सो देयर आर थ्री मीनिंग्स ऑफ इट. हाउ डू यू इवैल्यूएट योर स्टूडेंट्स? सो दिस इज अ जनरल क्वेश्चन, एंड दिस कैन बी आंसर्ड एज फार एज देयर एकेडमिक इवैल्यूएशन इज कंसर्न्ड. वो तो एक मोड से होगी जो कि उनका एग्जाम का पैटर्न डेवलप है. लेकिन what I do is when I take the class for the first time, I take a mock exam of them just to analyze the writing skills. और वहां से मुझे पता लगता है कि किस बच्चे को कितनी तवज्जो देने की जरूरत है. एंड देन आई वर्क अकॉर्डिंगली. मैं उसके हिसाब से अपना लेक्चर डेवलप करता हूँ, एक्टिविटीज डेवलप करता हूँ, और ऐसे बच्चों को ज्यादा चांस देता हूँ जो कि उस लिहाज से वीक थे, और उनसे मैं ज्यादा एक चीज को, यानी मेरी कोशिश होती है कि वो लिखें ताकि उनका स्ट्रक्चर जो है वो ज्यादा से ज्यादा बेहतर हो. सो दिस इज वन एग्जांपल ऑफ इवैल्यूएशन. यू कैन ऐड सो मेनी अदर्स. What are two components of Parliament of Pakistan? So they are Senate and National Assembly. Difference between naive and innocent. So naive and innocent, they're two different words, commonly confused, but they are not to be confused. Innocent is basically a trait of a person who is not evil, who is not having malice, or who doesn't have any wrongdoing. Naive is a trait of a person who is lacking in experience and is free from any cunning or treacherous thought. So both have the capability that they lack the capacity to injure someone. Like naive is mostly in professional senses. And then what is micro and macro linguistics, and what is difference between them? So this question was also asked, like micro and macro linguistics. So the micro linguistics जो होती है वो एक micro level पे है, जिस तरह the word suggest, and जो बेसिकली जब हम देखते हैं माइक्रो लेवल पे, तो हम सोसाइटी को देखते हैं कि सोसाइटी किस तरह डायलेक्ट्स को चेंज करती है इंडिविजुअल के, और मैक्रो लिंग्विस्टिक्स में हम देखते हैं कि जो सोसाइटी है उसको एज अ होल उसका ट्रीटमेंट. सो जब हम देखेंगे कि सोसाइटी को जिस तरह चेंज कर रही है, यानी एक इंसान को जो सोसाइटी चेंज कर रही है, उसके डायलेक्ट को, उसके स्ट्रक्चर को, ये माइक्रो लिंग्विस्टिक्स में आएगा. और जब एक ब्रॉडर लेवल पे हम सोसाइटी को एज अ होल देखेंगे, सो दैट इज मैक्रो लेवल. एंड देन what is difference between ESL in English as a second language and ESL English as a foreign language? So ये इनके दरमियान difference क्या है? ESL जो है, that is English which is usually taught to the students in an English speaking country, जहाँ पे English बोली जाती है, और वहाँ पे English सिखाना as a secondary language. जैसे पाकिस्तान में English बोली जाती है और यहाँ पे English as a second language सिखाई जा रही है. EFL is taught to the students in foreign, non-English speaking countries. For example, दुबई में या अगर चले जाएं अरब कंट्रीज में, चले जाएं अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज में, चले जाएं, यहाँ पे इंग्लिश नहीं बोली जाती है. अगर या कई यूरोपियन कंट्रीज है जो इंग्लिश नहीं बोलते, तो वहां पे अगर इंग्लिश सिखाई जाती है, so that is English is taught to the students as English is foreign language. What is biggest challenge that today's students face? So this is also general question, and you can tell them that biggest challenge can be so many in different ways. यानी उनके जो higher scores की ratio जा रही है, जो median उनका high जा रहा है, ज्यादा score कर रहे हैं लोग, और उस वाले से competition बढ़ रहा है. फिर उसमें जो मुख्तलिफ यानी फिर fee जो है, एक हम देखते हैं कि एक average प्राइवेट स्कूल जो के, और फिर प्राइवेट कॉलेज, यूनिवर्सिटीज हाई फी हैं. सो एनी आंसर कैन बी गिवन. व्हाट बिगेस्ट चैलेंज today's teachers are facing? So you can also deal with this in a general tone कि जो teachers हैं, they're facing challenges like the teacher has have to face difference of syllabus, and they have to meet a variety of students coming from different backgrounds. So iska bhi jo general answer, but jo bhi answer hoga, that should be very potential answer. How do you motivate students to learn? So that is entirely up to you. Okay, how do you motivate? So there could be so many ways कि आप एक motivation का बहुत अच्छा तरीका ये है कि वो बच्चे जो नहीं पढ़ते या जिनको लगता है वो क्लास में कमजोर हैं, उन्हें हम क्लास से बाहर एक क्वेश्चन का आंसर वैसे ही बता दें. And when we'll be asking them the same question in the class, and only they will be able to answer it, so this will increase their motivation level. So this is one of the strategies. Difference between language and communication. So language is part of communication. Communication is verbal and non-verbal. In verbal segment, language comes. Communication एक broader term है, language उसकी एक sub-term है. Have you ever taught a tough student? So if you ever had an experience to deal with the tough student, you can tell the same thing. यही बता सकते हैं ये strategy कि there was a student who was not learning anything, so I developed this strategy. I daily told him 1 or 2 questions, and I answered them. He answered them to me in the class, and gradually he was good. What content should an ideal lecture cover? So your ideal lecture should cover not only the content that is given in the syllabus, but also there should be 5 minutes of ethical ethical teachings in which you can give some moral lesson to the students. That's what I believe. This is all from today, my side, because the interviews are very rapidly coming to their end, and it is very hard to access all the people and gather the data. So thank you very much. Stay tuned.